Hello everyone and welcome to Monday Pilates. Thank you so much for joining me today and I hope you all had a really lovely weekend and enjoyed the gorgeous weather. So we're into week 14 of online Pilates and I'd like to say a massive thank you for supporting me and for your enthusiasm for this very different type of Pilates class. I've really enjoyed it and I hope that you've enjoyed it as much as I have and also found the classes challenging, energizing and also very fun. So I've got a favour to ask. If you could go onto your YouTube after the class and click on my profile, so you'll see there's a little logo that says Shoreline Pilates. There might be a button underneath there that says subscribe, and I'd love it if you could just hit subscribe there. It just helps me to get a few more followers, and once I reach a certain number of followers, I'll be able to use a different name for my channel rather than it being a string of letters and numbers that don't make any sense. So please, if you have just 10 seconds, I'd really love it if you could do that. Okay, so today's class is going to be split into two again. We're going to start standing, and then in the second half, we're going to come down and do lots of mat work exercises. So just like before, you can divide the class into two, and you can do half now and half later, or do all of the exercises in one class like we're in a group together. Please listen to your bodies as usual. If there's anything that doesn't feel quite right for you, please just sit that out. Do something that suits you better. And for some of the sitting exercises, I know sometimes a few of you might have a few troubles with your hips. So please feel free to add cushions, move your legs to a different position, just do whatever suits your body. Okay, so to start with, we're going to find our standing correctly positioned. So I'd like you just to stand up nice and tall with your feet hip distance apart. So just setting yourself up with your feet directly underneath your hips. Trying to get your weight going down evenly through your left foot and your right foot, arms hanging nice and heavy, tummy muscles coming in, and a piece of thread just coming up through the crown of your head. Just check that your hips are balanced, so pressing your right hip forward, then your left hip forward, and finding somewhere halfway in between. Arms hanging nice and long down by your sides. And we'll go into a really lovely shoulder roll to start with. So all we're going to do is bring our shoulders up, back and down. Just getting rid of any tension that you might be holding there. Rolling around, maybe feeling a few little cricks and cracks as well going on. And going the other way. So shoulders just traveling around nice and slowly and arms hanging heavy. And let's start looking from right to left now. Just imagining your head just moving on top of your spine. Really lovely if you spend lots of time working or if you ever wake up with a really sore neck. It's really good just to look from side to side. And think about if your balance has been affected as well. Make sure that you're not leaning back into your heels too much or leaning forward. Super, looking back through to the center. Now we're just going to go up and down. So looking all the way up and then tucking your chin in. You might feel there's tendons at the back of your neck, just lengthening. And we'll go again, looking all the way up and looking down. And two more. And our final one, looking all the way up and looking down. Super. Okay, so we're just going to start walking through our ankles, getting them warmed up, just moving from foot to foot and starting to bring our tummy muscles in, ready for the moves that we're going to make. I'm going to start with a really lovely floating leg. I came out wrong, standing on one leg. Somebody came in and put me off. Okay, so standing nice and tall, we're going to breathe in, and as we breathe out, let's start lifting one knee up in the air until it comes up to hip height and lower down. Try to keep your hips level rather than hiking them up. Okay, so I'm bringing my knee up to hip height. But if you can't bring it quite up to hip height, that's fine. You can just float it a couple of centimeters from the floor. And you can hold onto the wall if you need to, or the back of a chair. So my arms are hanging heavy, tummy muscles coming in and moving from one leg to the other. keeping your concentration in your body and in your balance. I'll show you from the front once again, all the way up and down. Okay, so hopefully your hips, your knees and your ankles are feeling a little bit warmer now. And we're going to add in some floating arms. So this time adding in our arm that's going to take our balance slightly off center. So as we breathe out, so we're going to raise those arms up. Inhale to reach out and down before going on the other side. Breathing out and up. So once again, if you need to, just take your foot slightly off the floor, just a couple of centimeters, but try and get your arms all the way up to the top and down. I'll show you from the side now. We're going to breathe out. And try to keep your hips balanced over your heels. It's really easy to start going forward and back. We're going to try to do our best, feeling those toe muscles switch on. Lovely, let's go 2 more times. Breathing out and in. Good, and again. You might find that one side is a lot easier than the other. Last one on each side. And our final one, breathing out, arms going all the way up and in, bringing them down. And once again, just walking out through your feet. Super. Okay, so feet go back to hip distance apart now. And we're going to float our arms up so that our elbows are level with our shoulders. So just glance to your sides, make sure your arms aren't reaching forward. So it's like you're just bringing your elbows back. So it should be quite an active position like this already. Now we're going to try and keep our upper arm parallel to the floor as we rotate. So we're going to breathe out and in. Now I'm not dropping my elbows down. It's a lot easier to do that. We're going to try and keep them up, shoulders down at the same time. Okay, so this is really lovely for you to get that rotation of your upper arm in your shoulder joint. And if you wanted to make this harder, you could grab a little pair of hand weights or 2 bottles of water, and you should really feel that. And you might feel that one side is easier than the other. Okay, so not only are we feeling this in our arms, you should be able to feel it down the back of your shoulders as well. So you're breathing out and in, out and in. It's a lovely way to ease up our shoulders and really promote mobility at that joint. Out and in. And like me, you might be feeling a bit tired already, but try to prevent your shoulders from coming around your ears. Keep your core muscles coming in to support you. And we'll do 2 more. Breathing out and in and out and in, and float your arms down. Give yourself a little bit of a wiggle if you want to. Walk through your feet. And if you're feeling a bit tired of standing up, I know sometimes if you have low blood pressure, standing up for quite a long period of time can be tricky, especially when you're not moving and walking. You can do all of these standing exercises sitting down on a chair. So all that shoulder rotation. The next one we're going to do is just dumb waiters. So if you need to, do feel free to sit down. Okay, so moving into dumb waiter now. Finding your neutral position. Core muscles coming in once again. Piece of thread to the crown of your head. Floating your lower arms up. So this time your upper arm is parallel with the wall. You're going to keep your elbows into the side. And once again, a lovely exercise for opening up the front of your chest and getting your shoulders working. So we're going to breathe in. And as you breathe out, just glide your arms out to the side. Feel your shoulder blades coming together behind you. Inhale to return. Let's go again. Breathing out and in. And just like that shoulder rotation that we did before, you might find that one side is a little bit smoother than the other. You might find you've got more mobility through there. And again, that's completely normal. So you're going to breathe out and in. And out and in. 3 more like this. Feeling your triceps and your biceps switching on. And 1 more. Okay, so now we can add in by turning into an extension. So Again, if you want to, you can hold your weights or your bottles here. And then we're going to breathe out, still breathing out. Just start raising your arms out to the side. Inhale to draw them back in and return. Okay, so with the weights, it means that you've added resistance. Your muscles are going to have to be working harder. So you're holding them, palms facing up, breathing in, breathing out to open and float. Inhale and return. Good. Okay, so now using your core muscles, making sure your hips aren't rolling forward. And let's go again. Breathing out. Float up. Lovely. Super. Okay, let's go a few more times. So this is an exercise that you can really make your own by deciding what kind of weight you want to have. So a nice water bottle, can of beans, some hand weights like this. You can even hold a bottle of wine in each hand if you really want to. Just try not to drop it. But that would really give you a nice challenge. Super. So we're concentrating on that precision of movement. It's really tempting to go fast, but this is really great for toning your arms and shoulders and improving the strength and mobility. 2 more to go. Breathing out and out, in and in, and our final one out and floating up and in and bring our arms down. Well done. Pop whatever weight you're using down to the side. And we're going to go into some lovely rotation now. So still in our neutral standing position. Hips remain pointing forward. So you can imagine that your lower body is encased in concrete. That's not going to move at all. All that is going to move is from the base of our spine up to the tip of our head. So let's float our arms up and place one on top of the other. Keep your shoulders melting down. Breathing in. And as you breathe out, start turning your head. And bone by bone, rotate to the side without moving your hips. Your hips remain pointing forward. So we'll start with a little turn of that head, rotating around, starting small. So we remember that we've got to warm our spines up bit by bit. And when our muscles get warmer, they're more likely to move, but also the synovial fluid between our bones becomes more fluid. Again, meaning it's more lubricating and easier to move. Keep your hips pointing forward. Going again. So as you go to the left, almost think about pushing your left hip forward. And that's really going to prevent you taking it back. So you're not moving it. It's just a mental trick to help you. Okay, so we're going to swap our arms over and go again. So it's really normal for one arm just to automatically go on top. So working the obliques, the transversus abdominis, serratus as well, which is on the outside of our waist. And you might find that now you're feeling a bit warmer, you can begin to rotate a little bit further. Super. One last one to each side. Keeping your elbows up, lower body still, and back to center. Again, walk through your feet. And now we're going to do exactly the same thing on one leg. So challenging your balance and your coordination. Again, if you want to, you can start with your toe on the floor. But if you're feeling like you want more of a challenge, just raise your knee up so that it is level with your hip. Cross your arms over, really plant that supporting foot into the floor. And then we're going to rotate to the side. Again, keeping your hips still, and you might find it easier to go one way than the other, and I definitely can. So you're going to breathe out to rotate. Keep your concentration. Try not to fall over. Come back to center. Over to the side and back through to center. You're going to try and do a few on each leg before we swap over. Ask yourself if you're pushing your hips forward or leaning your bottom back. And really bring that tummy button in towards your spine. And that will help Keep everything stabilized and balanced. Okay, we're going to come onto the other foot now. So bring that other leg up. This is my left foot, which I find a lot more tricky. And make sure you can control it. Try and slow it down if you need to. Keeping that supporting foot lengthened along the floor. Rotating to the side. Back through to center. Good. Remembering to breathe. It's really easy to hold your breath. Super. 2 more. And our last one to each side. I'm doing my best not to fall over. Back through to center and walk your feet up. Well done. Okay, so now standing once again with your feet hip distance apart, we're going to go into our Pilates squat. So we're going to start with some normal squats and then add a few fancy bits on to really challenge yourself. Again, just choose the level that suits you. So standing, feet hip distance apart. Remember, in our Pilates squats, we send our bottom backwards, keep our spine and pelvis in neutral, and stand up. And we're going to move on the in breath to come down. So breathing in, tummy muscles coming in, bottom goes back, arms hang heavy. Pressing out to stand all the way up. Let's go again. So keeping your shoulders melting down. Really great for toning your core muscles because they're working hard to keep your spine in neutral. And checking in to see what's going on with your knees. Keeping them balanced over your feet rather than going out or coming in. Good. Let's go 3 more times like this. You can ask yourself if you're tucking your bottom under. If you are, just try and stick it out a little bit more. Imagine that you're sitting on a public toilet. And we've got 1 more. Coming all the way down. And coming up. Super. Okay, walking through your feet once more. I'm going to add in that leg shaper that we practiced last week. So this time, we're going to come down as we breathe in. Then we're going to float our ankles off the floor, keeping our heels up, raise all the way up, and lower back down. So going again, coming down, pushing through onto your tiptoes, pressing through to standing, and lowering down. And take a few more rounds like this. So remember, tummy muscles coming on, jaw remains relaxed, back of the neck nice and long. Pressing all the way up and down. And 1 more like this, coming down, all the way up. And sinking down. So now we're going to add in some alternate heel raises. Now this is really going to get all those muscles around your hips and your core working because we're going to try and keep that squat position as we do so. So inhale to come down, arms hanging heavy, then as you exhale, float 1 heel off the floor and come down. So floating of the heel off. Now as you do this, you'll feel really easy that you can tilt from side to side. We're going to try and keep our body in this shape. So sinking your heels down 1 at a time. So really feeling your calves, your thighs, your glutes, your quads switching on, especially through my calves here. And then you can stand all the way up and maybe really feel it in your legs. Let's try and do 2 more rounds of that. So we're going to come down. Walking up, so you're keeping your toes on the floor and just walking your foot up and down, keeping your hips as steady as you can. So we do 8 raises. That's 4 on each side. And press through. Good. Let's do 1 more like this. Sinking down on the inhale, pressing up and down. and coming all the way up. Great. Okay, so now you have got that one. We're going to go into adding in some arms. So this time, opposite arm, opposite leg raise. So back into your standing position, sinking down on the in-breath. As you exhale, float one arm up as you float the opposite heel up and lower down. Breathing out and in. Core muscles really coming in, so try to maintain that connection. Tummy button coming towards your spine. I think I've lost the power of speech whilst I do this as well. And coming up, wonderful. Okay, so give your feet a little bit of a kick and a shake, and we're going to see if we can do that again for another round. So sinking down on the in-breath, breathing out to float up. In to come down. In to come down. Super. And again, all the way up and down. Last one on each side. You can play with how far you bring your arms up, depending on what's good for you. So if you can't get them all the way up to your ears, that's fine. Just do what suits you best. Okay, we've got one last set like this. My mat's really annoying me today. It's shifting all over the place. And let's go one more time, standing nice and tall, breathing in to come down, legs working, breathing out to float up, in to come down, out to float, in to come down. Last one on each side, so you've got that tension through your core at all times. Coming down and standing up once again, giving your feet a little bit of a shake. Okay, so now we're going to come down into sitting. So you can either just sit straight down or you can try and transition down like we've tried before. So remember, we're standing nice and tall. We cross our hands over, we place one foot in front of the other. Give yourself a little bit of room between your legs. If your ankles are really close together, it's going to be hard for your balance. And then we're going to sink down nice and smoothly and sit up on the mat. So I just bring back this laptop, bring it nice and down. Super. Okay, so we're going to start with a pelvic rock back. So we sit with our feet on the floor. If you have got good ankle mobility, you might find that you can get your foot all the way down. If you haven't and you need to bring your toes up, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to start with our hands on our knees. So think about a piece of thread coming through the crown of your head. So rather than slumping here, you're sitting nice and tall. And we're going to start rolling back. So we'll breathe in. And as you breathe out, so tuck your tailbone underneath you. And one bone at a time, just start to roll back. Keeping your hands on your thighs for support. Going to hold here and inhale. Breastbone goes forward and you sit nice and tall. Might feel a little bit weird to start with, but as you do a few more reps, your body will warm up and it should start to feel a little bit more strong and smooth. Breathing in again and breathing out. Start rolling back. One bone at a time. Gaze going forward, tummy muscles coming in. Keep your hands on your thighs and sit nice and tall. So remember, as you sit nice and tall, imagine a little piece of, a little hand even, pressing through the small of your back, making you raise it ever so slightly higher. Okay, lovely. Let's go again. Breathing in and breathing out to roll back. Nice and slowly. Gaze going forward. Sit tall again. 3 more like this. So going in your own speed. Keep your shoulders melting down your spine. And come up. Lovely. We've got 2 more to go. Rolling back. Watching for your knees, trying to make sure they're not coming inwards or falling out. And our last normal one like this. Piece of thread going all the way up. Let your legs go out to the side to give them a rest before we go into our next exercise. So we're going to do something called loaded flexion. So I want you to be really careful of your backs. If you know you have got any disc problems, especially towards the lower part, just be really careful because we're adding on this rotation, which is a really strong movement. And if our core isn't up to it, then our spine isn't going to be as supported as it should be. So again, listen to your body. And if you just want to start with a small movement, that's fine. Or you can just stick with this rocking backwards and forwards. So we're going to start in that same position, but this time we're going to have our hands across our chest. So again, from slumping to sitting nice and tall, this is our start position. Knees and feet hip distance apart. We're going to breathe in and start rolling back. Keep that lovely curve. Okay, so now we're about 45 degrees. We're going to rotate to the side as if you're taking your shoulder back towards the floor. Come back through to center. Breathing out to go to the other side, back to center, and inhale to sit up. So let's try that again. Breathing in to prepare, and breathe out, rolling back. 45-degree angle. We've got that curve of our spine here. Knees still fixed, hip distance apart. Exhaling to rotate, and through. Keeping your chest nice and open rather than crunching your shoulders up and in. And we're going to go again. So our alternatives are just staying like this with your hands crossed across your chest. That's a fantastic way of building up strength. Or you can just do a teeny little movement side to side. Or if you're feeling confident and strong, you can make that rotation further. And come up. Lovely. Let's go again. Rolling all the way back. Knees remain hip distance apart. Keep your chest open. And I can feel this already in my core. Let's see if we can do two more like this. Breathing in and out to roll back. Rotating to the side, back through to center. To the side, to center. Sitting nice and tall here. And we've got one more to go. Breathing in, rocking all the way back. Chest nice and wide. Breathing out all the way up to the top. Feet come together and just rest forward, giving your inner thighs and groin a little bit of a stretch here before we move into our next exercise. So again, beginners, stick with that little rock back and rotation. Or if you have been doing Pilates a little longer, we're going to add in an arm completely forgot what I'm going to say. Rib cage closure. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so for this, you start nice and tall once again. Our arms are going to be out so that they're parallel with the mat. Breathing in here, breathing out, rocking back. Tummy muscles coming in. Lovely flexed spine. Gaze going forward. We're going to breathe out and float our arms up in to reach them forward. And sit nice and tall. So we're adding a long lever, which means that our spine and our core are having to work harder to stay in that position. Because as you take your arms up, it's really easy to lose that flexion of your spine. But we're going to try and do our best to keep our spine still. Okay, so let's go again. Breathing in. Nice and tall through your spine and breathing out to rock all the way back. Exhale. And come forward. And if, like me, you found that your feet just lifted off there, try and add a bit more control. So let's go through it again. We're starting nice and tall, breathing in, breathing out to rock back. Pause here for the in-breath. Breathing out, arms raised in the air. Keep your heels and feet down. Hands go forward on the in-breath. And nice and tall. Lovely. 3 more to go. Remember, you can build it bit by bit. So if you want to, you can come back and raise just one arm at a time. Nice and smoothly. And come back up. And that's a really great way to build your strength up for doing the entire move. Let's go again. Breathing in. Breathing out. Raise your arms up. Forward. And through. Final couple. Rolling back. Arms go forward, lovely, and last one, breathing in and out to rock back. And rest here, well done. All right, so now we're going to practice some teaser legs. So again, this is a really, really great way to build your strength little bit by little bit to work up to more advanced exercises. So let's start in the same position with our hands behind our thighs this time. I'm going to come back into that flexed spine. So we breathe in here, breathe out, tuck your tailbone under. And then we're going to walk our feet towards us. And then breathe out to straighten one leg, bring it down. Breathe out to straighten the other leg, bring it down. It's really easy to get cramp here. We're going to try and maintain that flexion of our spine. So it's our hands act in two ways. They're helping guide our legs. Also, you're just helping yourself a little bit with that curl up. Curl up that spine. I don't know what's going on with my words. That spinal position. Okay, we're going to try again and see if I can explain it anymore. So, our feet are hip distance apart, nice and tall through our spine. We're going to breathe in here, breathing out to roll back. From here, keep your spine the same and walk your feet in ever so slightly so your toes are on the floor. Your hands are behind your thighs. Rather than holding on to really keep your spine in this position, they should just be lightly guiding you. And then as you breathe out, we're going to extend one leg, inhale to lower. Okay, that was a little bit more successful. And inhale to lower. Good. So again, a beginner exercise. You can just practice finding this position where you're balanced. And you can start doing tiny little baby kicks. And then bit by bit, you should find it easier to bring your legs up and fully straighten them one at a time. And then if you're really advanced, you can try doing both legs together. So this time, keeping your gaze going forward, floating both legs up, and lower them down. Or you can do one at a time, just like before. And going again, breathing out, legs extend and down. One more time, legs extend and bring them down. And lean yourself forward. Okay, so for our final exercise in this section, we're going to do rolling like a ball. Now again, be careful of your spine. So if you know you have problems with your discs, especially in this area, please just sit this exercise out, have a nice rest. Otherwise, we can try rolling like a ball, and hopefully this again is going to be a bit more successful. So we're going to curve our spine over, bring our feet in, and clasp your hands around your legs. So you're pressing your legs into your arms as much as your arms are pressing into your legs. From here, we're going to breathe in, and as you breathe out, let's rock backwards and come up and balance. So literally rolling like a ball. And rather than relying on momentum, you'll bring your tummy muscles in so that it is the strength of your core pulling you up. And I can really feel it as I come sitting on my core. One more time like this, breathing out and in. And our final one, out and in. And rest here. Have a few breaths and a nice drink because we're halfway through the class. So if you want to, you can have a rest, come back to this class later, or you can stick with me after a minute or so. I'm going to continue with the rest of the session. Okay, so if you're starting the session from scratch, please do a few warm-up exercises to get ready for what we're about to do. So you can do a few squats, you can do some nice arm circles and floating arms, just trying to get our hips, our ankles, our knees and our shoulders moving. Then we're going to come down to lie on the mat. So we're going to place that little cushion beneath our head and then lengthen yourself down with your head on the mat. Your feet and knees are hip distance apart. And we're in a lovely long position. So your nose, your breastbone and your pubic bone should be in one long line. I'm going to start with a really lovely knee circle. So I'm going to lengthen one leg away from me. And just float the other knee in and clasp it in both hands. And then using my hands for guidance, I'm just going to start circling it around in that hip joint. Now I'm not going to worry about what my spine and pelvis are doing. I'm going to let them move in reaction to that movement of my leg. It's really nice just to get that movement here. Try and open it out to the side and take it over the center of your body. Let's do 6 times on one side. Might feel slightly stiff. Mine definitely feels stiff today. And then you can go the other way. So circling around the other way, using your hands to help guide you. So you can just place your hands wherever suits you best. Really personal to you how much you move in this exercise. And then bring your hands down to the floor. Keep your knee folded. I'm going to do exactly the same. So just going to circle that knee around, and this time use your core and all those muscles surrounding your hips to make sure that that movement happens. So opening, really lovely to get that hip moving. And again, just listening to your body. So if you don't really want to move in one direction, just move within those body signals that it's giving to you. 6 times in one direction and 6 times in the other. You'll find that your pelvis and your spine are moving slightly as well. That's absolutely fine. Good. Bringing that leg down, lengthening it along the floor, drawing the other knee in. You might feel a slight difference between your knees and legs already. Clasping this knee or the back of your thigh. I'm going to do the same here. So circling around. Nice and smoothly. 6 times in one direction, and then let's go the other way. Good. Okay, taking your arms down by your sides. I'm going to do the same now without the hand for guidance. So just relying on the strength of our own bodies, and we were before, but the strength of that leg and the hip. Good. And let's go the other way, circling around. It's one last one like this. And take that leg back down. Okay, so you're going to anchor one foot on the floor. Bring that other knee in now. Hold the back of your thigh as you lengthen that leg up to the ceiling and point your toe. Now, if you want to, you can get your band or your pair of tights and just hook it over your foot now to give you a little bit of support and control. Otherwise, point your toe, turn your leg out slightly so it's like your knee is opening out. And then we're going to do some leg circles. So exactly the same as the hip circles. We're just going to bring our leg around, all the way up, circling around. Trying to make that circle suit you. So you can make it small or you can make it big. We've added a long lever onto our hips now. So our hips and spine are working harder. Your hands are out wide for support. Try and keep that leg extended as much as you can. Other leg is anchoring down. Pointing that toe is going to help you get lots of length through that leg. Final one. Bring that knee in. Give it a bit of a stretch. Move your ankle around. I'm going to swap those legs over now. Again, they might feel slightly different. So that knee comes in. Extend that leg up towards the ceiling, pointing your toe, turning that leg out, and start drawing those circles. So again, you can make the size of the circle suit you, big or small. Moving your pelvis and spine in reaction to your leg. Good, 6 times. And let's start circling the opposite way. And our final one. Bring that knee in towards you. Give it a little bit of a hug. And pop it down on the floor. Bear with me a second. My instructions have fallen over. Okay, so now we are going to turn this into some oblique curl-ups before moving into crisscross. So the oblique curl-up is a lovely way to prime your core and your spine ready for this more complicated exercise. So our knees and feet are hip distance apart, and just start to rock forward and backwards gently through your pelvis. before coming to rest somewhere halfway in between. So we're in that lovely neutral spine and pelvis. Get rid of your cushion and place your hands behind your head, lacing your fingers together. Elbows going up towards the ceiling here. We'll start with 6 normal curl-ups. Breathing in here, breathing out. Keep your head heavy in your hands. Nod your chin in, and one bone at a time. Start lifting all the way up. Tummy muscles coming in and down. Gaze going between your knees. Lengthening back down, one bone at a time before going again. And coming down, lovely. Let's do 4 more. So just priming the rectus abdominis now before we turn this into an oblique curl up. And 2 more. And our final one. And lengthen back down. Okay, so now we're going to turn it into that oblique curl up. So we breathe in and breathe out. Nod your chin, come all the way up. And then mid-bra strap level, start rolling to the side. Keep your knees hip distance apart. Come back through to center and roll down. So women, we are shifting to the side, the same height as your bra strap. Men, imagine you're wearing a bra and that's the area that you're going to shift in. So it's like mid-back. Just that place that you can't really reach when you take your hands behind your back. Okay, so let's go again, breathing in and breathe out. Roll all the way up, get to bra strap level and rotate to the side. Keep your knees from falling in together. Coming down. Good, let's go again. All the way up. Rotate. Inhale and down. Good, going again. Super. Okay, so one more normal one like this, rotating to the side. And down. And one more. Okay, so now we're going to add in an arm reach. So this time, we're going to breathe in, breathe out to roll up. And then as you turn, reach the opposite hand over to the opposite knee. Inhale to return and down. So this is just adding a bit of choreography to challenge your coordination and challenge me as well. So let's go. Breathing in and out to roll up and rotate, reaching the opposite hand to the side. Come back down. Good, and let's go again. And you might find that by reaching that hand forward, you're actually able to raise a little bit further. So really reach those fingers forward. Good, breathing in and out, reaching forward. Do your best to keep both sides of your waist long. So rather than shifting your spine laterally, you're really rotating. Lovely. We're going to do one more on each side after this one. So pausing at the top, you should really feel those muscles kick in. Last one to each side. Breathing out and reach. Inhale and down. Good. And one more. Breathing out and reach. Inhale and down. Well done. Okay, so I'm going to turn this into a crisscross. Now we have options. So beginners, you can just do the movement from the top of your body. You can leave your legs in a double knee fold, or if you're more advanced, you can do the entire exercise. So I'm going to start with our head heavy in our hands once again. Elbows going up towards the ceiling, so it's like you're cradling your head in your hands. Neutral spine and pelvis, so I'm going to float our legs in one at a time. Keep them, your knees hip distance apart. And then for our beginners, I'll show you our exercise. We're going to breathe out to come up and breathing out, cross to the side and back through to center. Cross to the other side and back through to center. So basically, you're doing that oblique curl up without going down in between. And this should really fire up the obliques and the transversus abdominis as well as the serratus. Okay, so this is our first exercise. Then if you want another bit of challenge, you're going to add in some legs. So we're breathing in to prepare, breathing out to curl up, Still breathing out. Rotate to the side as you straighten the opposite leg. Inhale back through to center. Exhale, straighten that leg. Come back to center. So you're straightening the opposite leg to the way that you are twisting. Keep your tummy muscles coming in rather than doming out. Good. 2 more to each side. If you need to rest at any point, that's fine. And again, breathing out and in and out and in. Place your head down, lower your legs down one at a time. And rest here. Place the cushion back underneath your head. Bring your knees and feet together. Take your arms out wide. We'll go into a lovely hip roll just to relax from that movement we've done. So let your knees go to the side. Draw them back through to center. Over to the other side. So getting gorgeous rotation of our spine. It's really nice to open out, especially the front of our chest after we've done that to curl up. Good. 1 more to each side. And again to the side. Back through to center. Good. Okay, so now again we have options. I'm going to float our legs up into double knee folds. Now, beginners, glue your knees and feet together. I'm going to try and do some hip circles here. So you can let your calves just flop down onto the back of your shins and start rolling around here. So you should find that you're just rolling around the back of your pelvis. You're using those core muscles. You're getting a really nice lower back massage on the mat. And you can do 6 times in one direction and 6 times in the other. So actually we'll all do this. It's a really lovely exercise just for opening out the back of your spine, as well as getting these core muscles working. So you find they're crunching in as you bring your knees in towards you. Good. Okay, so you can either stick with that or you can lengthen your legs up into the air, glue your inner thighs together and do exactly the same. So circling those legs around. And you can make these circles as big as you wish. So smaller circles to start with, nice and easy. And then the stronger and more confident you get, take those circles wider, but please listen to your backs. If you feel any pulling at any point, please stop this exercise. Use your arms on the floor to anchor you, and you can go the other way. So really strong on your core muscles, strong on your spines as well. Keep your gaze going up towards the ceiling. So we're adding a long lever onto our spine with these double legs now. So really, if you need to, drop those calves down and you can do a nice, gentle exercise in preparation for the tougher exercise. You can feel how tough it is, and I'm out of breath. Okay, 1 more like this. Bring your knees in and then place them back down on the floor. Good. Okay, so rocking backwards and forwards through your spine once again. Find your neutral spine position. Let your shoulders relax down onto the floor. Arms are lengthened down by your sides and float your legs in 1 at a time. So we've got our thighs parallel, no, not parallel. They are at 90 degrees to the floor. I seriously don't know what's going on with my brain today. I can't guess out what I mean. And we're going to do a really nice hip opening. So I'd like you to imagine that your legs are 2 book covers and your book is in between. And it's like you're just opening 1 book cover to the side and back. So your hips remain stable, opening to the side and back. Tummy muscles coming in, opening and back. Just open your hips to the side. Keep your hips going upright. If you open too far, you'll find that your whole body rolls over to the side. So just trying to keep the opposite leg still. And this is really playing with the mobility of your hips. Okay, so use your glutes here. You might find that you're clutching through your quads. So switch your glutes on a little bit. You should find it's a little bit easier to do this. Good. 1 more time on each side. And then bring your knees in. Give yourself a rock backwards and forwards. And we can try a transition up. So again, listen to your back. If you have any back issues, just roll over onto your side and come through into 4-point kneeling. Or you can just grasp behind your thighs and start rocking backwards and forwards, rocking up to sitting, and then cross your knees over, legs over, and roll onto 4-point kneeling. I'm going to have to turn around so that you can see me. So we're setting ourselves up in that lovely 4-point kneeling. So if you need to have a little bit of extra support underneath you, you can pop your cushions underneath your knees. Double check that they're underneath your hips, your wrists are underneath your shoulders, centers of your elbows facing each other so the arms are really engaged here. I'm going to start with that lovely cat just to get our spines moving a little bit more. So breathing in here, and as you breathe out, let's rock our pelvis underneath us, and one bone at a time, lifting our mid back all the way up to the ceiling, pressing the mat away from you, and inhaling to come back through to the start. Going again, rolling underneath. And extending, super. 2 more like this. And our final one, really rolling all the way up. And coming back through. Super, so we're going to go into threading the needle. Now, if you've had any shoulder issues, just do this one bit by bit. You don't need to bring your shoulder all the way down. You can just do a starting movement and build up that strength gradually. So showing you what I mean, we start in that 4-point kneeling. Then we're going to breathe in. Breathe out, start to post one hand through. Now, this can be your starting position and come back up. So you're just doing a small thread the needle to each side. You should already feel that those shoulders and your arms switch on as you start to post that hand through. And then you can take that movement bigger. So you start to breathe out and really bend through the arm so your shoulder comes down, pressing through to come up. So you can either start small, or you can make the movement bigger, just depending what's good for you. And coming back in. Good. Going down again. Bring that shoulder down. Pressing through that hand to come back through to the start. Coming down again. And all the way up. Good. All the way down. And pressing up. Great for your shoulders. Great for your arms. You're also getting some lovely rotation through your spine as well. And you can take it as slow or as fast as you want to. So ideally, the slower the better. Gives us that control and really builds up that strength. Lovely. And again, sliding down. And up. Good. One last one on each side like this. Enjoying that rotation through your spine. And coming up. Okay, so sit back over your heels and give your wrists a rest if you need to. Otherwise, we are going to go into our threading the needle and extension. So this time we're going to lift that top arm all the way up to the ceiling. So we are going to start in that 4-point kneeling once again. Slide the arm through on the out breath. Inhale, press through like before. And this time, float that arm all the way up, lifting that top shoulder up to the ceiling if you can. And bring that hand down. So I'm feeling really stiff today and find it's quite tricky. So coming down. So don't feel bad if you can't open all the way up. It really depends on your body and what you've been doing as well. Just try to make that movement as smooth as you can, no matter how far you can go. It's all about the control and precision. Good. 2 more times on each side. Or you can sit and have a rest if you need one. Seems to be moving forward bit by bit. Good. And our last one to each side. Final one, pressing through. And bring that hand down, sitting back over your heels. Give your wrists another rest here. Coming back into 4-point kneeling, we're going to get some lovely movement through our hips now with a leg slide and I don't know the word for it, sweep, let's call it that. So 4-point kneeling, check that rather than slouching down towards the floor, you're pressing away. We're going to breathe in, breathe out, slide one leg directly behind you, really extending it and keeping your hips square to the floor. Then as you inhale, draw a circle around you as far as you can, keeping both sides of your waist nice and long. Bring that leg back and slide it back in. Okay, so I'll show you again. We're going to breathe and slide that other leg. Exhale, bring that leg back and through. Inhale to slide. Exhale to sweep round to the side as much as you can. Inhale to slide back and bring your knee underneath. So we're just getting some lovely rotation of that leg in that hip joint now. And again, this movement and the amount to which you can move is really personal to you. So I can get my leg quite far around because I've got flexible hips. But other people might not be able to get that much movement at all in there. But it's something that you can build up gradually. So just try and keep your shoulders and your hips square to the mat. Lovely. And again. Okay, so now you can either stick with that exercise or we can try and add in some arms. So we're going to do exactly the same with the opposite arm. So this time we breathe in, slide opposite leg and arm away from each other. And then as you exhale, start to draw that circle to the side. Come back through and return. Sliding on the in-breath, exhale to sweep. So I'm going to about 90 degrees to my body with the arm. Come back through. Lovely. So this is something great to practice. Really lovely for your coordination and your concentration, as well as mobility through those joints. Getting your core muscles working as well because you're taking yourself off center. Good. And sitting back one more time, giving your wrists a rest here. Super. Okay, so we're going to come onto our fronts now, ready for some extension movement because we did quite a lot of curling up when we did those oblique curl-ups. So we're just going to counterbalance that movement by sending our legs out behind us and bringing our nose down, hands wider than the mat, forehead down, toes pointing out to the sides and feet slightly wider than hip distance apart. Let's start with that lovely cobra. So breathing in, breathing out, pressing your nose away from you and start to bring your spine up from the floor one bone at a time. Either pause in cobra prep where your arms are still on the floor, or you can extend your arms, sending your breastbone forward, getting that lovely flexion through your spine and lengthening back down once more. Breathing in at the bottom, breathing out to press that nose away. Lifting all the way up. Lovely extension through your spine. And come back down again, one bone at a time. Bring your nose back under. Breathing in once more. And out. Press your nose away. Lovely extension. Great for your posture. Really opening through the front of your chest. Keeping your legs active behind you. Really lengthening through your toes. And back down. We'll do 2 more like this. Pressing away, all the way up, shoulders melting down the back of your spine. And our final one. All the way up and lengthening back down. Okay, so now placing your hands beneath your forehead, take your legs back to hip distance apart. We'll do some prone leg lift and lowers. So all we're going to do is as you breathe out, lengthen one leg up, lifting from your hip and lower down. Going on the other side, making sure you've got enough room to move, breathing out and in. Super. Going on the other side. So now getting a lovely extension through the front of your leg, Strengthening the back of your legs and your glutes. Really good for the posterior line of your body. Great to counterbalance all the time you spend sitting or walking or jogging or cycling. Trying your best to keep your body completely still here as well. Good. One more time on each side. Super. And now we're going to combine that movement with our Cobra Prep. So taking your legs back, pointing your toes out to the side, slightly wider than hip distance apart, hands flat on the floor, nose down, breathing in, and breathing out, start lifting all the way up. Pause here where you're in Cobra Prep, so your elbows are still down. Then we're going to breathe out, still breathing out, and inhale to come back down. So breathing out again, pausing here for the inhale, out and out, inhale down. So really intensifying that extension of the hip now. Excuse me. Try and move from your hip rather than your knee. We've got 2 more to go. Keep your shoulders coming down, breastbone traveling forward. Gaze should be going towards the end of the mat rather than up or directly down. So you've got that lovely curve through your spine. We'll do one more full look after this. Pressing all the way up, pausing here, lifting and lifting, lengthening down, pressing through your hands, and either coming onto your side into a fetal position, or you can come back into your child's pose rest position, sending your bottom back over your heels, your arms and your head forward, and resting here. Gently pushing yourself up into sitting and finding a seated position which suits you best. And we'll go into our final breaths in and out. So we're going to do a lovely big breath in, breathing out, reach up and over to the side, back through to center, arm coming down, and again. One more time to each side. Lovely side stretch. We've gone quite swiftly today, so I really hope that you're able to keep up with what I was trying to quite badly explain today. I'll do better next week. And we're going to take 2 final breaths in, breathing in, reaching all the way up and down, and our final one all the way up and pressing the air down and giving yourself a nice clap. Well done. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've really enjoyed it and you found some of the exercises a little bit challenging or some just really strengthening. Whatever, I hope you really enjoyed it. And I'm babbling a bit now, so I'll say goodbye and hopefully I'll see you next Monday. Have a really great week and please feel free to get in touch if you have any questions. So take care of yourselves and see you soon. Bye-bye.